Welcome to Hook and Hunt TV. Hey, with duck and goose season fast approaching, now's be the perfect time for you to get out on a sporting clays range or over into a buddy's house and shoot some clays. Actually, that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to show you several different shots that you can practice on that's going to help you during your waterfowl season. As with everything, you need practice. So today, we're going to go over several shots that are going to be really helpful for you during waterfowl season. A couple of them probably even going to be useful to you dove hunters. Stay tuned. The clays, we're going to start breaking them. First and foremost, safety is always important, and I always have eyewear and I always have hearing protection. And for here, when I'm shooting clays, I usually have these electronic earmuffs right here, which work really good to block out sound, that high impact sound, yet I can turn it up and I can still hear myself. When I'm in the field later this year, you'll be seeing some of the inserts, the ear protection that I use. It's a lot less conspicuous, but it acts really good to knock out the muzzle blast, but yet I can still hear ducks and geese, I can hear myself calling, etc. So, we've got our hearing protection, we've got our eye protection. You know, compared to when I shoot sporting clays, and I have a gun for that, but when I'm getting ready for hunting season, I'm going to shoot what I'm going to be shooting when I'm in the blind. This is an 1187, and what I'm going to do today is I'm going to practice with this gun, because after all, this is the one that I'm going to have with me during the entire hunting season. So, I've got some presentations set up right now, and one of the ones that we see common is ducks coming across or geese coming across, and I'm a left-handed shooter. So I'm going to start with this presentation right here, and it's just going to be a clay coming across here. We're going to learn how to break it, get out in front of it, just like you would with ducks and geese. You're going to get out on their head, get out on their bill in front, and pull the trigger. What I try to concentrate on is the leading edge on that target. I want to be in front of that, because remember, when you're shooting clays or when you're shooting at game, you're not actually literally shooting at it, you're shooting in front of it so that bird or that clay can run into that target, and that's where clays really come in handy. I'm actually going to use clays right now as a teaching tool to help me establish that lead and get that feeling for when those ducks and geese start flying. I'll show you what I'm talking about. There you go. What you want to do right there is just keep out on the nose, and that's what I'm doing. When those ducks or geese are coming across like that, I want to get out on the nose of that. Usually my rule of thumb is anything inside of 35 yards, I put right on the nose or right on the bill. Anything outside of that, by my judgment, I try to give it at least a duck or a goose lead in front. Here I've got about a 25-yard shot. I pull right out in front of the clay, pull the trigger, and keep the gun moving. That's important when you're hunting as well as when you're shooting clays. Keep the gun moving. Now let's apply a little bit more of this, and we're going to take it from a sitting position, like if you were dove hunting or if you were in a blind, and we'll see if we can get some of those targets when they come flying by when we're really not expecting them. That's when your reactions take over. That's where you're going to get some birds. Let's try that. Stance and mount is very important when you're shooting a shotgun. The stance that you have to accept the recoil, and also how you mount the gun. And you know, we could go back all the way through basics, and maybe we'll do that at another time. But even though I'm sitting here, I always know where my feet are going to be. If I'm going to be shooting a dove that's coming that way, remember I'm left-handed, so I'm kind of going back against my power side here. So if I'm going to be swinging this way, I know one thing for sure, I want some of my body to be that way. It's really easy for me to get up and shoot this way, but to be this way, I have to make sure that my foot is in the proper position before I go shoot. I have to get that position down, get that stance correct so I can mount the gun successfully, then keep my eye on the target and take the bird. Dead bird. I love that. Hey, what we're going to do now is I'm going to show you a really cool shot I'd like to take. We're going to be sitting in front of a tree, almost like you were sitting in a duck boat, and there's going to be doubles that are going to come over the top of the tree and drop down in front of you. And have your buddy do that, if you can, or some kind of thrower, and have them do it so you never know when they're coming. Then you just got to react. That's about as close to being realistic as you can get. You'll see, it's a lot of fun. Well, that was a lot of fun. I'll tell you what, nothing gets you in tune more for hunting season and waterfowl season, especially, and upland season, than shooting some clays. You may want to remember too that I've got a pretty tight choke in this one too, just like I'm going to be shooting this hunting season. And so the clays that are farther out, they bust a lot easier. Remember, when they're close, like some of them got, your pattern's very, very small, so you're going to have to adjust for that. And that's why we practice and learn. It's better to learn here than when you have those rare days out in the water when you want everything to go right. Practice here, you will do better out there. Hey, I'm glad you were here today. For hookandhunttv.com, I'm Jim Crowley.